Hello, it's Laura Joy. Wanted to talk a little bit about math and how it relates to things in the world. Because we say that it relates to everything in the world and everything like that, but we don't really know what we're talking about because we aren't thinking of it. So I wanted to just make correlations between two things. So so like the size of a TV, it's measured diagonally. Now I like interior design, and that is where you make houses on paper and you figure out the measurements of the house on the paper before you do it. And that deals with the geometry. That deals with a lot of geometry. And I think a little bit of algebra sometimes, but definitely geometry. Basically, what you do is you make the square. You say this is for this room. And then you figure out how much you need for that space. So that's the size you write down on it. But the space of the square has to cover like the whole square footage of the whole house. And sometimes you need to add on rooms, more squares to that square. You have to figure out how much room you have for the doorway, or if it's like outside, you walk from outside to there, you need to figure out where the doors are and stuff. There must be some sort of certification where you figure out how to make things fire safe. And before I make any houses, I want to make sure I know what I'm doing with like fire safety and stuff, and that would most likely deal with a lot of math. You need to know where the boiler is, or the water heater and stuff. You know if there's a gas stove, where that would be, how large of a explosion it would make, or if it would explode, what the area is. And then you need to figure out a door away from that area. So that's some math there. Also figuring out windows. Like if you have a window in the wrong place, it could feed the fire with more air if the wind is blowing into it. So having a window away from the wind is actually probably a good idea. But I feel like a lot of houses we make are not made with that sort of math in mind. And I wish they were, because people would be safer. But having a good amount of windows is important. Like this house, there's windows in every room, and that's important. And in this main room, there's 2 windows. So that's good for sunlight as well as airflow, as well as other things. There's also like carbon monoxide poisoning that happens in houses. So you want to know the capacity of the room. You have to know the size of the room. It would be coming from like the boiler, or not boiler, the anything with gas in it. It would be coming from like a stove. Can put carbon monoxide into the air. So you have to know the rate that it would be going into the air, and you'd have to know the size of the room that it would be going into, the rooms, and you would need to know where to go if you like were in the house and there was carbon monoxide in it. It's also like when we breathe out, we emit things that we're not supposed to breathe back in, I think. So it's like the room needs to be big enough for you to have enough air, is what I'm saying. That's math right there. Then there's also the meticulous little things like finding the size of the rugs in the room. It needs to be in relation to where the furniture pieces are, and the furniture piece need be a certain distance away based on how big the people are in the house, or how much room they need. Like if someone's claustrophobic, that's an important factor. You don't want to make them feel like they're trapped. So you need to know the size of the furniture, the length, the depth, the depth, and then the side, and then the surface area of the bottom. That would be the depth, but times the length. I am interested in the future in looking at plants and seeing the times they need water, and seeing why that is, and if they can go without water for longer. Because some plants can't. They just wilt within a day of not having water. Mostly that's plants that aren't in the ground for too long. Or if they're really small, they wilt within like a day here in Iowa. But it would be cool if you can make like an underground waterway for the plants to soak up water from. Kind of like a natural one, but man-made. It would be cool to do that for the plants so they can not run out of water, and so the water is like protected and stuff. Either that or make like channels on the ground so you can just pour water through that place and not have to walk everywhere to water the plants. I mean, sometimes they need it directly on them, but if you make like a square around the plant, it can soak up water, and you need to know like the rate it would soak it up, and when's too much. And so here's what you would need to do: have the water channel in one direction more often than the other direction, and in this direction there's less water that's needed, and in the other direction there's more water that's needed. And it would be like a train track where it switches on and off. But that would help the water go to where it needs to go. Anyway, that's just my ideas. Oh my goodness, what else? Everything can be related to math. What's an example of using an algebra equation? If you're cooking something and you walked away from the stove and you didn't see how much time there was that went by, and it's not done yet when you check it, and you set the timer for like 5 minutes, and then it's done in 5 minutes. You take it out, you cool off for 2 minutes or something, then you go and you sit down and you talk with your friend, and they ask, so how long did you cook it for? Well, you don't know because you cooked it for 5 minutes knowingly. So there is an algebra equation. What do you even minus in that situation? I would look at the package and look at the amount of time that takes to cook something. You minus the amount of time you timed from the larger number on the package, and you get the answer. And then you could tell your friend, I cooked it for this long. Or you could just tell them the number on the package. But that would be an algebra equation. What's another one? Shapes. Anything to do with shapes would have to do with algebra. Like if you can't access, like if you're gonna move something and it's stuck, how to get it out when you can't go to the other side and see what the size is of that. How do you know which direction you need to go? So you need to like take a look at the other side. That would be a situation where you need to do algebra, I think, because you need to take a look at what shape it is of the object you're moving, and then the height, the width or depth, and the length of the objects. And then you need to take a look at how much space you have and do the same. How much space you have to get out of that and do the same. That would be algebra, because sometimes the other side is larger than the other side. So that's why you need to look at the shape. People say they don't use algebra. That's because they don't get into a situation. But what if you do? You need to know it. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm done talking. You have a good day. See you later. Bye.